be having to do that. So that was Ag Week last week, the memorable part. We had great crowds, great groups of people who were there, and as always, an event where people got a lot out of that, in addition to their credits and that they are coming for, but a lot of information, a lot of questions and answers, and just a great meeting. And we look forward to that again this year. Last year we had Maria, and both her and Lori Walensky were doing things on risk management related to health topics. And then later in the year, Maria did a first for us in 2018 on something on farm and ranch health and vitality, which has been attended by over 80 people, and is going to have some impact at this year's Ag Week, where we're going to have some assessment and health assessment vans there for folks this year, and also talk about a new guide being put up by the library on farm stress and ways for farm families to cope in anything from financial to health issues. So we started something new last year, and over in 2018 that really has blossomed and grown during Ag Week. And we'll hope for electricity this year. I noted that on January 2nd of last year, Allison Brayfield started, and then Aisha started later in the year. And so we have what we call the new A-team in the director's office. That's our year in review. So Allison has a year under her belt as a business manager position, and Aisha's got about 3 months. So we're getting going here with that as in review. And right after Ag Week, several of us left for Argentina. This is the lead class 4, that we were headed to Argentina in January of last year for the study abroad here with the in Mendoza, the wine country. I just purchased stateside a bottle of wine over the holidays from Mendoza, and might have been from that vineyard where we're standing. And on the right, we're with the Department of Agriculture there in Argentina. And just a great trip and a great learning about a study abroad. And 4 of our staff members, you can see Tara there, Dan Batista, Dan Severson, and Michelle Walford were all members of that class. And then I can't do 2018 in review without talking about the rain. It started to rain earlier in the year, and it rained. Common recurring theme. We also celebrated Ratledge Award winners, and we had Carrie and Mark, who were recognized in this very special university-wide Outreach and Engagement Award. The other winner was Diana, and she is Diana Simmons, and she works for the Institute of Public Administration and has helped with the Ratledge Award and has since retired. But it was a great celebration. And it was wonderful to have 2 of our extension folks recognized with this award. And then we started needs assessment process, and we got very busy with getting together by committee our survey and the needs assessment that we were going to do. That we also ultimately did use the snowball impact, and Jen led the way on this, and we had over 600 people involved in the needs assessment process for us last spring. I had a chance to make a presentation for the state legislative session about cooperative extension and its impacts, and just want you to note what's in my hand there are the impact sheets, and we used those and shared those as with our legislative session, and we'll be using those again this year as we go back as our plans for this year include asking for additional state line funding, and we're beginning those conversations with legislators this month. So that'll be part of 2019. But here, setting the tone with those impact sheets and all that work you did in creating your accomplishment reports will go into those impact sheets for this coming year. So keep those great stories coming. And I'll just mention that we added another 7, I believe it's 7 impact sheets from last year that are now on the website. And if you haven't seen them, go and look on the website. There's 7 new additional ones that are available. was also a year for review. The Northeast Extension Risk Management Center, which Lori Walensky serves as the director of, and our dean had a review. We're in a review process last year, which is a time of learning. And the center did very well with its review with external reviewers, as did the dean and his reappointment, and many of you were involved in that process. And after returning from Argentina, our lead class did graduate and had a great graduation and celebration. Missing from this picture is Dan Severson. So we had a great group and great culmination in a graduation for lead for our folks. And starting and overlapping was the start of Lead 5, and this is our biggest class ever that we've had for lead accepting this. This is the first time we had more applicants than we could accept for the program, so it's starting to build capacity in terms of being something that's recognized that people benefit from and want to be a part of, and we're thankful for the leadership of DDA, along with Jen Volk, who is now providing leadership for Class 5 from the extension side. And you'll see our own Kristen Cook is in as a member of this class. We also were doing a lot of winter meetings and a lot of training sessions. Here is the produce safety training that we've been involved in, responding to regulations and food safety, and doing a lot of work in partnership with Food Science and DDA to work with our producers around that. And just mention that Gordon was recognized for excellence in extension. He received that award at graduation commencement and was recognized across the state for this award in 2018. We celebrate that. And did I mention that it rained in 2018? So we saw a lot of this. It was rain. It was dark clouds. I think I heard over the holidays that 26 of the 52 weekends in 2018 were rain. We had another group of master food educators who were led by our FCS team, who completed all of their hours of training, over 30 hours of training, and graduated from the program and add a lot to the work that we do. And of course, our youth program was busy, and here they are with the leadership program. They were in Washington, D.C., and Lisa Blunt Rochester, always a welcome member of our congressional delegation, to meet our folks and be with them and here with our youth. We also had Senator Carper that came for a visit. Tracy Wooten hosted him, as well as some of our master volunteers who had attended the Public Issues Leadership Development seminar the year before and learned about reaching out to your legislators, had reached out, and Senator Carper agreed to come and do a visit. And so we're appreciative of our volunteers and our staff who hosted him in that visit, some Del State folks along, and also they did this Garden of the Brave and had just a great opportunity to share some of Extension's programs with Senator Carper and his visits. And we had more rain. In addition to training new volunteers, there's been ongoing training for those who are already part of our master volunteer staff. And here was a training at Historic Penn Farms. And this was connected with both the horticulture team and the FCS team working together for some of this training. Here they are, supporting the staff and the training on that beautiful sunny day. Our youth were also amazingly involved in their Telltale Green and White, and excited to have them providing overview of what we're doing to our governor. And then on the right, you see them with our program leader and in their view with our state conference and developing their leadership skills. And certainly we have some outstanding youth who are providing leadership and stepping up to the plate and doing a lot of great things. And we know our youth program serves 42% of the youth in this state who are between the ages of 8 to 18 through a variety of different delivery methods. So we celebrate that. We get to summer, and it's just the time for a lot of our outdoor work, and so we had our annual weed school that Mark Van Gessel provides leadership, as well as many of the folks at Carville Research and Education Center are involved with that. We had a lot of field days where we're outstanding in our field, and I think we added to this part of our innovation work this year was the work that's being done with precision agriculture, and we're appreciative of seeing some of that in the picture here with Jared, of the innovation team's work that they were doing this year. And we have James, outstanding in his field here. At first I thought that was a beer bottle he's holding, but now in closer look, it's a irrigation nozzle, and we have some stellar work that's going on at the irrigation farm that's really leading the way in the East Coast around what we're doing with irrigation. And did I mention that it rained in 2018? Pest management walks and diagnostic work that was going on this summer, led by a number of our lawn and garden team. And in the summer, we began taking that needs assessment data and developing our new plan of work for the next 5 years. Tweaking our original plan of work, making changes in that, and putting that back together for what will become our plan of work for the coming programmatic years, including this year. We did farmer market education, this in Newcastle County, and doing some education right at farmers markets as well, where we could educate consumers and catch them with some free samples and recipes. And then there's always the state fair. This was when Dante LaPenta joined us in 2018 as a communication manager, and he was attending the state fair, probably not for the first time in his life, but attending as the communication manager and seeing what we're doing. Real excited to have Dante join us this year. He's going to be a live presence along with our new writer who's going to be at Ag Week. So you'll see more of them. And thanks to Michelle Walford for her continued leadership for how great our exhibit has looked at Ag Week, including on the back screen, you'll see the new exhibit we had, which was our mapping that we had done a training in earlier in the year, and mapping of a lot of our extension programs. Other folks, of course, Governor Carney's visit, and greeted by our folks who are working at the exhibit and showing off what we're doing, and glad for everybody's help. It really takes the whole team to help get State Fair accomplished, so appreciate everybody's help with that. And you may have missed this detail, but Michelle Walford won the native plant photography contest that was at the State Fair. We all had a chance to vote, and so I believe, Michelle, the photo on the left is the one that was the winning photo. Am I right on that? I know Michelle's on.
Second place.
Second place.
Yeah.
All right.
Third. Yeah.
Yep. So we were glad to have her. My photo of her photos doesn't do this justice. They're a lot better than this, and a lot clearer than that. And also, you may not have known, but 2018, Tammy Shermer raised the most money and won the Kiss the Pig contest, which is quite an honor. And so you might have missed that, but we're glad to celebrate Tammy's success and appreciation of the funds that she helped that go into a scholarship for our youth that comes from the Delaware State Fair piece of that. And we have Georgie and others helping doing some poultry education, but the bottom line ultimately is always some fun at the State Fair. And at least this was one of the sunny days at the State Fair, because did I mention that it rained in 2018? So this was the look at State Fair some of those days. We had our biggest group of extension scholars this year, the biggest group of extension scholars we've ever had. Here we had our first international extension scholar. Augustina is on the left, and We're planning for Augustina to return to University of Delaware this fall as a graduate student under Amy Schober. And so we're excited about how the Extension Scholar Program is leading people in terms of their lives and their careers and makes a difference. Bill just did a fabulous job. Carolyn May, who's on Bill's right, was paired with Augustina, and they formed a great friendship and partnership in doing the work. And then a returning Extension Scholar, and I'm failing to remember his name, that's on the right.
Joe. Joe, I forget his last name.
Yeah, yes, and he was a second year with Bill, but Bill has just done, and others have just done a great job of caring about these students and seeing that their experience is one that is just very memorable and meaningful to them. And in this case, just pleased to have them. And Carolyn May, I'll also mention, is one of the college's 8 students who are now part of a new program that is Outreach and Engagement Scholars. It's like the Honors College. And we have a chance to learn more about that, and for Extension, our Extension Scholars will be a part of that. That can contribute to their honors program in this Outreach and Engagement Scholar Program. And Carolyn May will graduate this May, and she will be one of the first Outreach and Engagement honors scholars, and she will have used her Extension Scholar experience as part of receiving that acknowledgement on her transcript. So we're contributing in a great way through these Extension Scholars. More than just having help for the summer, it's way more than that. So thanks to all of you who are involved in doing that. Here's more of our scholars. Brianna is there, and Laura Saad, and the scholarly work that they're doing, learning what it means to be a professional and to do poster and presentations at meetings. And Mark Isaacs has really taken under his arm some Extension Scholars this summer, and her family, and who were, she worked with Emily, and just a great experience in being a part of the internship experience that has been started up through support of Sussex County, and Mark's done a lot to work with that as well. In August, Gina and Lindsay Hughes and a lot Nancy Mears and a lot of other folks kicked off our Well-Connected Communities, which is the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation work that I'm doing nationally, but this is our work here in Delaware, and what we hope will be one of the premier examples of work doing teens, mentoring teens in our Seaford community. 11 teens who are FFA students were trained about the BOTVINS curriculum, and we'll be working with other youth in the middle school in Seaford this year on the BOTVINS curriculum, which is a prevention program, and working teens, mentoring teens, and we hope that this will be successful and become a national model that can be looked at. So we're excited to be working in that arena, and we'll have an opportunity to apply for that grant to be funded, a funded state in the year 2019. We had a short call on turnaround time to take some of our Delaware youth to be involved in Shadow National Figures as part of the Legacy Awards. And here we have from Parks and Rec, the actress who's from Delaware and Delaware 4-H'er, surrounded by our Delaware youth and staff who did a great job nationally at this Legacy. Here's another example of our lawn and garden team, lawn and garden and FCS team working together. As in 2018, we really worked to break down our silos and particularly work together around areas where we can impact policy and systems and environment things through our work together. It's part of what we talked about at our annual conference about collaborative impact and collective impact. And here, this is from the ground up, which included talking about how you can start and develop community gardens. And then the FCS team talking about food safety and food and nutrition piece, and also our SNAP-Ed program and promoting that. So a real great example of crossing the boundaries of our work and really bringing it together for the full impact, collective impact. And by this time, we're all getting ready to start planning what our personal goals will be within our plan of work. And the teams did a lot of work making sure the indicators were right and that the new plan represented what we wanted to go into for the next 5 years, and then how we would all be personally involved. And just want to acknowledge that very pleased with the process of a year going from needs assessment to development of a new plan, and then to the personal goals that have you've participated in and we have in place within the year. And great job on the process that will now hold us for the next 5 years with that. This fall, we had our own Hall of Fame, which is held every other year. We had a number of volunteers who were recognized, but pictured here is Karen Krause, who's Doug's wife, but a leader in and of herself, has done many wonderful things and was one of our leaders inducted into the Hall of Fame and recognized here, along with many others. And just hats off here to our volunteers and what they do to help us with our youth development program and many other of our programs through their assistance. We also, at a national level, recognized posthumously Mark Mano, and it was just a very special year, very special honor to have Mark be inducted into the 4-H National Hall of Fame. Obviously, he was inducted to our Delaware Hall of Fame, but also now at the national level. And here's his daughter. She did a presentation on his behalf, surrounded by folks at the national level. And we had just a great group of folks from Delaware who went to the National 4-H Center and celebrated that evening as he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. So a great thing for Delaware, and Mark's life and his legacy just continue to be with us as we recognize this. Did I mention it continued to rain in 2018? This fall, we also had Alyssa join us as our plant pathologist and come on board, and just excited to have her here. And she's based at Carville Research and Education Center. And here she is at our her first annual conference. And we had a good annual conference this fall. The highlight, based on everybody's evaluation, was the Share Fair, and something that everybody really enjoyed and took away with new ideas. And I hope this serves as a reminder to put into your plans for this next year one new idea that you got from that you might build and incorporate into the year ahead as we continue innovation, which was my wildly important goal and our organizational wildly important goal in 2018 was around innovation. And we had our innovation teams report out what they had accomplished during the year. Continuing to educate those volunteers, here's our master food educators doing some advanced training. And we do, I had a number of pictures that we had over the course of this last year that Michelle provided that were at Dogfish. So we do a lot of things with Dogfish. Our lead Delaware class was there as well. But master food educators, and that continuing to support these volunteers through advanced training, both those and our Master Gardener volunteers. And we also had Extension starring on TV. Did you recall that? Our First State Plate, our own Gordon and Emily on First State Plate, and we have the videos available. You can check it out and see our TV stars with that. I think that's a first time thing for 2018. We also had first place press award for the Master Gardener Minute. Real acknowledgement for something outside the Extension organization, recognizing the work that we're doing with this press award, and excited to have these folks recognized for their work outside of the Extension organization. Annie's project had its biggest, was focused on poultry this year, and we had the largest group ever. This is the graduation of that class from Annie's project, particularly focused on women in agriculture, but men included as well, and just a great, great group of folks who spend concentrated time together working through that, and a follow-up Women in Ag Conference as well. Many of that are tied together. We added Frank to our 4-H team. He's on the left. He's at Carwell Research and Education Center, our 4-H staff there, and celebrating the holiday season, but glad to bring him on board as our latest staff member to join towards the end of the year, and glad for the whole team that supports that. And the very end of the year, we're still at it, even with the holidays, and Poinsettia is out working with the producers, talking about what we're doing, what needs they have for the coming year, and getting ready for 2019, even as we moved into the holidays this year. And finally, I just want to say a word as we wrap up 2018 and move into 2019, that I just want to acknowledge and celebrate the work of Sue Snyder. Sue is going to start her terminal sabbatical in another week or so on January 15th, I believe. Sue will be wrapping up her extension career with us, many, many years of leadership for SNAP and FNAP and food safety. She's worked across college lines, and we just want to celebrate her career and her contributions. Here she is with our nutrition assistants and all the work that they do out in the field. Sue has provided leadership for that for many years in her career, and we just want to celebrate her as we get ready to kick off 2019 and she begins her terminal sabbatical. So finally, just a toast to all of you. I think you can see how exciting this is, and this is only a piece of what we've done across the year. I just want to say a toast and thanks to all of you as we start the new year for all that you do and all that will be in the next year. And I want you to know that I appreciate you. I appreciate being able to work with you and to serve in the director role, and really see it as an honor and an opportunity to help you and make your ability to meet these needs is my job, to help work alongside you to make that happen. So I want to say toast to all of you as we start 2019. We had a great year in 2018 despite the rain. At every ag meeting that I was at, we talked about the rain and the impact that it had and that, but despite that, so many, many things accomplished in all of our programs. So thank you all very much. And a special thanks, I didn't do credits at the end of my slides, but a special credit to Michelle Wofford, who is on her sick bed with this terrible cold that she has, helping me get slides together, and to Aisha, who had the technical skills that helped me to get this pulled together. So that's my highlights of 2018, and looking forward to working with you in 2019. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I know that there's probably other things that we can celebrate in 2018, and certainly hope you'll bring those to mind as we look back and as we move forward. So with that, I'm going to, I think I stopped sharing here, and I'm going to turn things over to Jen as we talk about moving into 2019 and all the exciting things ahead. She has some updates and some items to get us kicked off on the right foot for 2019. So Jen, I'm going to turn things over to you.
Thank you, and I want to thank everybody for all of the reporting work that you did all year long. I think the quarterly reporting was really helpful, and I've heard people say that. So I hope that you didn't have a mad rush at the end of the year, although I even felt that a little bit, just getting everything in, pulling together your indicator data and your impact statement. So, probably a couple of you maybe heard from me Wednesday. I was in looking to see what was in the system and what maybe was still missing. So we're in really good shape, though. We have pretty much everything. A few people have reached out saying they are expecting a report maybe on Monday that they'll be able to add that data then. So we're pretty much wrapped up 28 and looking to 2019. And with that, I thought it was a good time to talk about A couple of things. And first of all, I wanted to start with civil rights. So I'm going to share my screen also. So are you guys seeing are you seeing my right screen or my left screen? I think I shared the wrong one. Give me 1 second here. There we go. I'm going to share screen too. Okay, so now you should see my presentation slides, I hope, why we have civil rights folders. So hopefully everyone's aware of the fact that we have, because we received USDA funding, we have to comply with their requirements to have non-discrimination and equal opportunity provisions. And so we want to make sure we're making our programming available and accessible to everyone. And in order to show we're in compliance, we have to document our efforts. And that documentation goes into folders. So there are 3 civil rights folders in each of the county offices. And in this past year, we created a folder for Townsend Hall as well. So everybody has the opportunity to put their information into these folders. And we really need everyone to contribute to that. So one of the things I wanted to share with you guys, though, is that earlier this year, Maria, and Michelle Walford and I got together. We were the 3 people who managed the county folders, and we reviewed the Civil Rights Guidance Handbook that we had. And we had thought that it would be good to do some updates and revisions to that. So basically, we got together and reorganized it and relabeled some of the sections. So the leadership team went through a couple of months of looking at that, and it was finalized in November. So we do have a new guidance, a new handbook on the staff resources page for you. We'll get the old one down soon, just so we won't cause any confusion. But I wanted to just bring your attention to that. Within this handbook, we basically say, I'll scroll, I don't expect you to read that fast, but we expect everyone to read and be aware of what's in this handbook. Now, everyone who's in the county offices, when you meet for probably your January or your February staff meetings, you'll probably start going through this with your county director, maybe goal by goal over the course of a couple of months. For the folks in Townsend Hall, we'll deal with this also when we get together for our quarterly staff meetings in Townsend Hall. So I want everyone to take some time, go to the staff resources page, check it out, look at the new organization. We tried to make it very clear of what needs to go into the folders, as well as who's responsible for doing what. So again, I'm not going to go through everything in detail with you right now, but the one thing, again, getting back to planning and reporting that is important to do at this time of year is the parity assessment. So now that we have a complete year of 2018 data, you can go and look at what you've done, the people who have participated in your programs, and compare that to your target audience. So these are some slides that I had showed last year, trying to give you some resources. I hope I haven't gone and checked if the links that are on the staff resources page are still working, but this is where you can go and get the information for the county that you're focused on, or statewide data, or if you're focused on maybe agriculture sector specifically, and pull that information out. Then you're going to want to go in and look at what you reported in 2018. Now, I haven't done this myself yet. Our 2019 plans are due the 15th, so I'll have to do this either this afternoon or next week. But you'll look at your 2018 data, and you can do this by going to your year-to-date summary, which is on the left-hand side. And I actually have a tip sheet that we created last year that is not on the staff resources page at the moment, but I've sent it to Aisha, and she's going to get it up for us soon. So if you don't remember all of the steps, that will be there to help you out. But you can look at what who you reached last year and compare that to whether it's statewide data or county data, and see if you're in parity. So if you are in parity, that's great, and that's being within, I think, 5% of the target population, the demographics of your target population. If not, this is the time where we want you to identify what you're going to do in 2019 to try to reach those underrepresented groups. So this is where you could say you're going to, do maybe a Spanish translation fact sheet for a particular group, or maybe you're going to go to different areas and offer programming outside of your county office to try to reach people who live in different parts of the state. It's really up to you to figure out what is necessary and who the target groups that you need to reach are. But you'll be able to type this up within a specific box within the plan in Lampers called Special Intentions to Reach Underserved Audiences. So I am able to go in and pull a report on everything that's typed into that box and just pull all of that out. We can then print that report out and put it into each of the civil rights folders in the county offices and Townsend Hall. So we really are looking for everyone to have a statement in these boxes. The box is actually within the input section, so you do inputs for each program area. So if you're one of the folks who has 5 program areas that you're working under, you could, if you have different things you need to do for each program area, have a different statement within each box. But at least I feel you should have at least one of the boxes filled out if what you're going to do is going to be representative to all 5 of your programs, if that's what you have, for example. It needs to be written in at least one. If you have to do something different for each program area, you should have a specific statement in those specific boxes. So I think with that, I wasn't going to go into too much more detail. Michelle, did you want to say anything specific about civil rights and parity assessments? I know it's just something really that's important for us, and we have this information, and we pretty much think we're overdue for an audit. So we need to make sure we're doing the necessary documentation.
Well, thanks, Jen, for that. And this parity thing is particularly important for groups. So when we're working with groups such as our 4-H clubs, we still have some homemakers clubs. It's particularly important that we're doing that, but also as our general audience, are we really reaching who our audience is? And so in ag, that might be women in agriculture. And I do see us doing a lot of things to do that, but are there things that we're doing that would keep audiences from participating that might otherwise? It can be as simple as how we're addressing and sending envelopes, you know, are we including Mr. and Mrs. On those, and just anything that we can be doing that is reaching out to all of our audiences, and whatever that particular underrepresented audience is in your program area. But I'll just say in summary, I know that this seems like a paperwork piece, but underneath it all is just the intention on our part that we really are making our programs available to all people, that we are making an effort to reach others who are doing, who could benefit from our work. In the Well-Connected Communities work that we've done this year, one of the statements has been that we required them to work with a particular audience had lower percentage of health and wellness, and folks commented that really helped them to reach an audience that they wouldn't have reached otherwise. And so think about who's some of our audience that we may not be reaching that really might benefit the most by what we can offer that we may not be reaching. We do reach far and wide. I'm very proud of our program in Delaware. I think we really make an attempt to do that, but we can never just rest on our laurels. We just have to continue to do this and be sure that we're doing it. And the reason is because it's the right thing to do. And so I appreciate everybody's commitment to that and continuation of that as we move forward. And then, of course, documenting it in our listing the people who attended the program and being able to document that in our Limper system is the way that we can get credit for that work that you're doing. So it's important. And I just add my thanks, Jen, to those who did the reporting. Jen's going to wrap things up and get me the accomplishment reports. We're going to get on that right away this year. I mentioned earlier that I am planning for 2019. We're trying to move forward with a special campaign to our state legislators this year to get some additional funding for cooperative extension. I'm still waiting for the president's approval of that process, but do have the approval of the provost and government relations. And so one of the key things that I'm building my case on is what our impact has been. Things like how much we're leveraging grant dollars from what we're doing. And I get that information, and a lot of this information from the Limper system, that it helps put that story together. So thank you. My thanks as well, because these stories really help me to in this case, sell Extension and say what a great investment. So, so civil rights, and it's just part of program. As far as I'm concerned, it's just part of what we do. It's not an addition. It's not an add-on. It's just part of who we are and how we do our work.
So Michelle, I'll add in, Susan had sent me a message privately asking about something we had a conversation about months ago, and that was that we should also be doing some sort of civil rights training with all of our groups, our advisory groups, our master food educators, master gardeners, every year. And she had asked about training materials. So the FCS team does have some presentations that they have given, and they provided them to me. So they're pretty much general at this point. So I need to get that to Aisha to put on the staff resources page as well. People can then modify it to maybe give some examples, as the FCS team has done, that are specific to that group that they're talking to. That might resonate more with them, but I think they can just use this now, and it can be good to go. So once we get that up there, I'll make sure I share that in a DW or a future First Friday. So I think, are there any other questions from folks on the new guidance document or doing the parity assessment? I'm not seeing any typing happening, so for me, I want to say Happy New Year. We'll be seeing you guys around, so have a great weekend.
Yeah. We're looking forward to Ag Week and kicking things off in the new year with that. And I hope State Fair is paying their electric bill and we have power. I'm sure they are. So we'll see you all. Thanks for tuning in on this first Friday. We've had 40 of you online. Great to be in touch with you as we start the new year. I'm really looking forward for a great 2019. Great things ahead, and looking forward to celebrating next year as well. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, Emily, you're asking if I'm going to post the info on the slides, and yes, we can do that. We can. I'll PDF them and put them on the staff